Yo, JD here, Limitless. And as you can see by this video, we're going to test something quite interesting here today, because I did a video a couple years ago now about how slow the 0% AI is. And that's exactly what we're going to test today, because there's been a lot of hype about how quick the 110% AI is. I thought I'd just twist it and just see how difficult the 0% is, because the 110 I think is probably the hardest, if I'm not mistaken, or myself personally, it feels like it's the hardest it's ever been. So today we're going to see how difficult the 0% is, because in theory it should be much harder than previous games, because I think from that video I did back in 2017, I think I lapped them in like 3 laps or something like that, 3 or 4 laps, and that was pretty comfortable. Ran a default setup back then, and that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to do it at Silverstone, a track that's got lots of twists and turns, and I think it should be a good test. One of my best tracks as well. So we've got 4 lights now, 5 lights, 5 laps here. Let's see how quickly, or if we can at all, beat this AI, lap it. And right from the get-go, they get an insane start. Even on 0% AI, they get a ridiculous start, but you can see already starting to go quite slow, and we just go in way too deep. And that was completely my fault. Luckily, I've got damage turned off. We're going right around the outside of Leclerc, almost losing the back end, and we should just about make it around the outside of Vettel. It doesn't really give us that much of an inch, and we are still behind, and we just about get into the lead now, and now we are finally in the lead. So initial first impressions definitely seem better, definitely seem a lot more aggressive and a lot faster than the previous 0% AI, and that's straight away. And completing the first lap, we'll be able to see what the gap is, and you can see they're not even that far behind. And as I said, you can just tell straight away that they are definitely a lot more ramped up than previous games, and only 9 seconds behind. I can't remember what it was a couple of years ago, but I think they would have been like 20 seconds or odd behind already at this point. Setting the quickest lap of the race, or my second lap of the race, and I think we're staying on board for my fastest lap in this race, and we're able to see what the gap is now. It was 9 seconds after the first lap. Let's see what it is at the second lap. And you can see, can't even see the back of the field going through Magnus and Becker. So again, just confirming that they are pretty rapid on pace, even on this. And 21 seconds. So losing about 12 seconds a lap, if my maths is right there. 12 seconds a lap on 0% AI. I know it's still a big gap, but you know, someone who's just starting the game, and maybe someone's a lot younger and just hasn't maybe used a wheel for the first time or anything at all. And I'm driving pretty well here, you'll be able to see from this lap. Driving pretty much flat out and literally using all the limits of the track, and I felt I was driving almost to my max around here with the default setup. And you can see only losing 4 seconds in the first sector. You know, gotta say, this 0% AI is actually not too bad considering, and it just makes you think of how good the 110 AI must be. Must be absolutely crazy. And I've already done a video on the 110 AI, and we can see already they're very good, but I will be doing more videos around different tracks to just see how good they really are. But this is my fastest lap here, and so far actually quite impressed. They get a ridiculous launch off the line. Don't move out the way when you go down the inside. Pretty much maintain positions. We do a 29.8, which is I think a pretty good lap for a 5-lapper here. And you can see 31 seconds, so lost 10 seconds on that lap. So, well, they haven't gone through the complete lap yet. I think we're going to stay on board, or I think we might actually be switching, but not too bad. And we can only just see the back of the field now, just from Magnus and Becker. So it's taken us 3 laps to see that. And now we're going to start the final lap of the race, and let's see if we're anywhere in sight of trying to lap this field. No car in sight. Go look for Magnus and Becker. The leaders are only just going through there now, so they're only just over a sector behind in 5 laps. And for my previous videos, when I did it on previous games, we would have lapped the field by now, and probably well on our way to almost lapping them twice. And you can see the back of the field's only just going through Magnus and Beckett's, and coming through the last corner of the last lap, the Williams, which you presume would be in last, is absolutely nowhere in sight. And crossing the line, obviously a very comfortable win. Drove really quick there, but I think even someone like Brendan Lee, or someone absolutely ridiculously rapid at that on PC or something, I don't think they would have a chance of catching this field, especially with the default setup. You'd have to be going about 5 seconds a lap quicker or 4 seconds a lap quicker than me to be doing that on this. So far, 0% AI, pretty impressive how good they are. And if someone's just starting the game and they've literally never done a racing game in their life and they decide to do no assists, I think this would be actually quite a hard challenge for them, being serious. So you can see about 13 seconds a lap slower. So yeah, pretty impressive there. So I decided, instead of just doing 5 laps, which I was expecting to lap them, we're going to jump into a 25% on the same track, pushing as hard as I can with the default setup once again, and just see how long it's going to take for me to lap them. Even if I can even lap them at all, I might not even lap them on the 0% AI. So we got 4 lights, 5 lights, getting a good start once again, but again, they're just a rocket launch off the start. They're just crazy. So we're going to go around the outside, and we've actually been spun round by Charles Leclerc going to the barrier, and he just, yeah, great. So we're going to start that once again. 4 lights, 5 lights, trying to get a good start. Very hard to get a good start in this game. I felt I got a reasonable start, much better than I did before, and we should comfortably be going around the outside of Bottas, which we do, and Vettel going slow in the corners, and that's a much smoother, cleaner start, much cleaner than I did in the 5-lapper. So let's see how long it's going to take, or if I can lap this AI, 0% AI around this track. And already getting quite a decent gap, and we're going to stay on board for the next lap, which is going to be my fastest lap as we finish that one. Going to the fast lap, you can see wrestling with the wheel, so I was pushing very, very hard here, and hopefully you could maybe even learn something from this, because I felt I was driving extremely, extremely well, loving the game more and more each day, feeling I'm getting better and better each day with the handling. Can't wait to do leagues, and they're about 11 seconds behind, so 9 seconds initially on the 5-lap one, but this time I got a much better start, and we'll be able to see, should be about 10 to 12 seconds quicker than them per lap. Interesting to see what kind of pace I have in the 25%. But going through this first sector, pretty much almost perfect so far. Second gear, right, really trying to hook it up. Slow in, fast out. We can see wrestling with the car once again, so really trying to be aggressive on the throttle, but still getting a nice exit. Lost about 3 or so seconds in that first sector. Going through Old Tail 1. Want to lift a little bit, use all the track on the exit. And now going to my favourite sequence of corners, going completely flat out for this first right-hander. Middle of a track, go down to 6th. Slow in, fast out early, and get a slingshot off this corner, which we do very, very nicely. Up on our time by a considerable amount, about 3 or so seconds at this point. Going down hanger straight. Don't need to go into 8th gear here, although I do. It's only really when you go into 12,000 RPM is when you really want to be going 8th gear. Going back down to standard, no ERS through here, just to get really good traction for the corner. Coming off this corner now, very, very difficult on traction. But coming off here, they're about 20 seconds behind, setting a 30.7, which is a very good lap here. And I think we might stay on board to see how far they are behind after lap 1. You can see the last car has just gone through Maggots Beckett's sector 3, so they're only still about a sector behind after 3 laps. And you can see coming through here now, no other cars in sight. And I have to say again, very, very impressive, and 23 seconds behind. So just confirming about roughly 11 seconds a lap slower in the fastest car than myself. So yeah, proving pretty good. And again, pushing very, very hard, almost losing the car. Being very consistent here, so constantly in the 30s, which confirming again, I think this is a pretty good test where I'm just pushing as hard as I can, literally just leaving nothing on the table, not trying to save tyres or anything at all, literally pushing as hard as I can, and coming through to finish the end of lap 4 now. In the 30s, once again, a 30.9, setting a purple last sector as we're doing so, and let's see what the gap is now, coming through the first sector. You can see now, they're just starting to go into Maggots and Beckett, so again, not even that much more than a full sector behind, about a sector and a half behind now, and very, very impressive. And let's see where the last car is. The Williams is not too far in front of me now, so I'm expecting maybe in a few laps could get on to the back of them. And yeah, tyres are starting to get a little bit old now, but again, being very consistent in the 30s. And now I can see a car in the same sector as me. So now let's see how quickly we can actually catch them. Looking at Maggotts and Beckett's on top of the screen, let's see where the lead car is going to be now. They are just about to go into Maggotts and Beckett's. It's like a Ferrari, Mercedes, and then 2 Red Bulls, and then a massive gap to the back of the field. And you can see the field, I can even hear them through my headset now. So well within sight, giving me the motivation to try and push on. And about a minute behind Leclerc is. And yeah, just confirming again, they're roughly about 10 to 11 seconds slower per lap, which again for the 0% AI, that's absolutely crazy. On the previous one, I have to go over it again. I think it's well over 20 seconds a lap slower or something. So very, very impressive. And I feel would actually really be a challenge for someone who's a complete noob at the game, who's got no experience on the wheel, or decides to just turn off, no assists with no experience. I think this would actually be quite a good challenge for them. So, but I do think the previous 0% AI in other games was definitely far too easy. So I think this is probably quite a good setting, or quite a good gauge really of how the 0% AI actually should be, because they're still very aggressive, still get a crazy start. I don't think you can really beat the AI offline on this game. Coming across the line, doing a 31.2. So again, tyres are now starting to go off now, and 1 minute and 7 seconds behind, so he hasn't really lost too much time. And I think the AI in the straight line are definitely just a little bit OP. They're very quick in the straight line, but it's through the corners I think is where we're going to make up the most time. And now we are coming onto the back, and let's see if we can even overtake someone going into here. You see the leaders going into the old town one, going down the inside of Kvyat and the Toro Rosso behind. And now we've got Kubica go around the outside of him, and now we're going to try and go around the outside of his teammate, who gives us no room whatsoever. And again, very aggressive AI, or just an AI that is not really aware of where you are on track. Easy overtake going through, because it's, as I said, going through the corners, they just seem to be, that's where they're losing the speed. But you can see on the straight, although we're knowing no ERS, they are very quick in a straight line. And now my tyres are starting to go off as well, which is not helping trying to go through his traffic like this. Just squeezing past Giovinazzi as we make a little bit of contact with him. So again, not giving you any inch or quarter whilst you're trying to make the way through the field. And they're actually being lapped as well. But I think I have turned off rules and regulations, because I just didn't want to get a penalty for running out wide and stuff like that. Although I don't think that would even give you a warning, even if it was on strict rules. But coming through this last chicane now, let's see if we can go down the inside of the Haas of Grosjean, slipping down the inside, making another bit of contact, and making contact with almost every single car so far. And I've decided not to go down the inside here, instead going round the outside of Sainz and Stroll, and now Perez going down the inside here. And we're still not that close to the leaders. We've still got quite a way to actually catch them up. And I think next on the list looks like it's going to be Kevin Magnussen, as Roman Grosjean is out of the race, and it is Magnussen, so it should be a relatively easy move down the inside here. Not too comfortable and a little bit anxious to go on the inside, just in case he decided to turn in. And now we've got Ricciardo coming off this corner. Let's see if we can get a good run, which we do. We get a very nice run, put it into high ERS and rich. Straight line speed, as you can see again, very competitive on straight line speed. And now we're going to try and go around the outside of Norris, who gives us no room. The same story of every single AI here. And now Maggotts and Beckett's, we've got a big gap, and I think this is the gap to the big guns, the likes of Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes. And they are well and truly gone. You can see pushing very hard, using all the limits of the track. Tyre wear is getting up quite a bit now, but tyres, you know, my times, although I'm going through traffic, the times I think I could still get within half a second of my fastest lap, which tyre wear doesn't really seem to be too bad at all. And I think I could even almost do the whole race on these set of tyres. Although the undercut, I think, is definitely OP in this game, because tyres heat up super quick, and I would definitely be doing quicker laps if I was on the soft tyre. I think if I was on, or medium tyre I was on now. But now we are starting to catch the leaders going through this turn 2 or turn 3, and I don't know which one it is. Let's just say it's going to be Gasly in the Red Bull. Be very surprised if it wasn't. And I think we're going to be a little bit too far back. I think, yeah, definitely way too far back. 1 minute 27 seconds behind now. And let's see who it is. Yep, it is Pierre Gasly. Go down the inside here. He actually gives me some room, and not as aggressive as the other AI. But you can see starting to lose a little bit of the rear tyres now. And now we're coming up to his teammate Max Verstappen with my teammate, and then I believe it's going to be, I don't know if it's the 2 Ferraris. I think it is the 2 Ferraris out ahead of him. Come out to Verstappen, going through Magnus and Beckett's. Was thinking about the inside there, but definitely wasn't going to be close enough. Going down the inside of Bottas. Should get DRS with Leclerc actually leading. So should get a very, very nice run here. Let's see how quick we are. We're using overtake, so we're using our max deployment of DRS and the fuel. And we're going to go down the inside of Leclerc. Quite a nice, simple move. And it's taken me 9 laps, almost 10 laps for me to lap this AI. And no, we only had 3 laps of the race to go. And this is 0% AI. This isn't 10, 20, 30. This is 0% AI. So it just shows you how much more improved they are on a raw pace at least. So that is a video here today. We're going to retire now and just look at the lap times. I think it should be roughly be around the kind of the same time difference. So you can see my fastest lap was a 30.7. Pretty consistent there. So again, I think a pretty good test of that. Even did 30.8 on like lap 5 or 6. And now we'll be able to see, hopefully when I pause it, of what times Lewis Hamilton, Leclerc, likes of them, they were actually using. So again, I think very, very impressive. Definitely much more improved than it was previously. And we'll see now, as we leave this race, of how fast they will actually go be. Let me know what your thoughts are of this video. What you think of the AI in general. Do you think they're much more improved than previous years? For me, definitely raw pace, but I haven't really raced with them enough to think that they are as good as they were before, especially in spatial awareness, as Crofty just never stops talking. And let's see what the lap is. Here, they are doing 43s, 42s. So we did a 30.7 and he's done a 143. So again, confirming about 12 to 13 seconds behind. I feel that is, again, pretty quick for 0% AI. So let me know your thoughts on this. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for 67,000 subscribers now. Honestly, absolutely insane. Really, really humbled by that. And I can't wait to do more videos, and particularly league racing coming very, very soon. Peace.